You've probably seen them both slicing through the sky at air shows. The F-22 Raptor and the F-35 Lightning II twinning. They're both American 5th-generation fighters, and each cost more than most people will earn in a lifetime. So what's the real difference? Why does the U.S. military need both? Let me break it down for you in a way that actually makes sense. First, let's talk about where these birds came from, because their origins explain everything about why they're so different. The F-22 Raptor was born during the Cold War. Picture this. It's the 1980s, and the Soviet Union is America's main adversary. The U.S. Air Force was worried about advanced Soviet fighters that might challenge American air superiority. They needed something that can dominate the skies, something that can shoot down anything the Soviets throw at it. The mission is clear. Create a jet that's invisible to radar, faster than anything else up there, and so agile it can outmaneuver any opponent. Development started in 1981 with the Advanced Tactical Fighter Program. Lockheed and Northrop competed with different designs. Lockheed's YF-22 eventually won, and the first production F-22 didn't fly until 1997. By the time it entered service in 2005, the world had changed dramatically. The Soviet Union had collapsed and the Cold War was over, but the Air Force finally had the fighter it had dreamed about for decades. The F-35 Lightning II came later, with a completely different problem to solve. By the late 1990s and early 2000s, the military realized they had a mess on their hands. The Air Force, Navy, and Marines were all using different aircraft for different roles, so maintenance was a nightmare. Training was expensive and parts weren't interchangeable. Someone had the bright idea. What if we built one aircraft that could do multiple jobs for all three branches? The Joint Strike Fighter program launched in 1993, and Lockheed Martin's X-35 beat out Boeing's X-32 in 2001. The goal was ambitious. Maybe too ambitious, some critics said. Create one basic airframe that could replace the F-16, A-10, F-A-18, and Harrier jump jet. Each service would get the variant they needed, but they'd share most components, training systems, and maintenance infrastructure, and that's the fundamental difference right there. The F-22 is a specialist. The F-35 is a multi-tool. Look at an F-22, and you're looking at a jet designed to kill other jets. Everything about it screams air dominance. It has two massive Pratt and Whitney F119 engines that can push it past Mach 2. That's over 1,500 miles per hour. It can supercruise, which means it can fly supersonic without using fuel-guzzling afterburners. This gives it incredible range and efficiency at high speeds. Most jets can only go supersonic in short bursts before running out of fuel. The F-22 can cruise at Mach 1.8 all day long. The F-22's maneuverability is insane. It has thrust vectoring nozzles that can direct engine thrust up and down, letting it pull off moves that would make other jets fall out of the sky. For example, pilots can perform a Cobra maneuver where the nose pitches up dramatically while maintaining the flight path. In close-range dogfights, this maneuverability could mean the difference between life and death. The aircraft can pull 9 Gs in tight turns. That's 9 times the force of gravity pressing down on the pilot. Most people would black out. Fighter pilots train extensively to handle these forces, but having an aircraft capable of these extreme maneuvers gives them options other pilots simply don't have. Now check out the F-35. It's got one Pratt and Whitney F135 engine, not two. It can't supercruise like the F-22. Its top speed is around Mach 1.6, still supersonic, but notably slower. The F-35, designed to see you before you see it, share that information with everyone else, and take you out from a distance you didn't even know was possible. The F-35 comes in 3 variants, and this is where things get interesting. The F-35A is the conventional takeoff version for the Air Force. The F-35B can take off vertically and land like a helicopter, designed for the Marines who operate from smaller ships and forward bases. That vertical landing capability uses a lift fan behind the cockpit and a swiveling rear nozzle. The F-35C has larger wings and reinforced landing gear for aircraft carrier operations with the Navy. Plus, it needs a tailhook to catch the arresting wire when landing on a carrier deck. So basically, one basic design, 3 different configurations. But the F-22, just one version, because it only had one job. Both aircraft are stealthy, but they approach it differently. The F-22 was the first operational aircraft designed from the ground up with stealth as a primary feature. Its shape, its materials, its internal weapons bays, everything minimizes its radar signature. The angles are carefully calculated so so radar waves bounce away from the source rather than back to it. When the F-22 is up there, enemy radar systems struggle to see it. It's been described as having the radar signature of a marble. The point is, it's incredibly small for something so big. The aircraft's skin includes special radar-absorbent materials that further reduce its visibility. Even the engine intakes are designed to hide the spinning turbine blades from radar. The weapons are carried internally to maintain that clean, stealthy profile. Carrying missiles externally would defeat the whole purpose by creating radar reflections. The F-35 is also stealthy, but it made some compromises. Why? Because of those three variants. The Marine version needs that vertical lift fan, which affects the internal layout. The Navy version needs stronger landing gear and bigger wings for carrier operations. These requirements meant the F-35 couldn't be quite as radar invisible as the F-22, but it's still stealthier than just about anything else flying except the F-22. However, here's where the F-35 pulls ahead. Stealth isn't just about being invisible to radar anymore. The F-35 has advanced electronic warfare systems that can jam enemy sensors, spoof missiles, and disrupt communications. So it's not just hiding, it's actively messing with the enemy's ability to see and think clearly. This is required for modern warfare. This is where the F-35 really shines, and why it's not just a cheaper F-22. The F-35 has something called sensor fusion. Imagine having cameras, radar, infrared sensors, and electronic warfare equipment all feeding information into one system that processes everything and presents it to the pilot on a single display. The pilot doesn't have to juggle multiple screens or interpret different data streams. The jet does it for them. 6 infrared cameras positioned around the aircraft give the pilot a 360-degree view. They can literally look through the floor of the cockpit and see what's beneath them. The helmet alone is a technological marvel. It costs around $400,000 per unit and displays all the information the pilot needs right on the visor. We are talking about flight data, targeting information, threat warnings. It's all there. The helmet tracks the pilot's head movements, so when they look in any direction, the infrared cameras show them what's there, even through the aircraft itself. The F-22's technology was cutting edge when it was designed, but remember, that was the 1990s. Its computers, by today's standards, are old. Get this, the processing power in a modern smartphone exceeds what the F-22 was designed with, so upgrading them is difficult and expensive because the system wasn't designed with easy modernization in mind. The F-22 is like having an incredibly powerful computer from 2005. Meanwhile, the F-35 was designed with upgradability built in from the start. Its mission systems can be updated more easily. New software can add capabilities without major hardware overhauls. It's built for the long game, designed to evolve as technology advances. The program has something called block upgrades, where new software packages add enhanced capabilities every few years. The F-35 also excels at information sharing. It can act as a flying data hub, gathering information and distributing it to other aircraft, ships, ground forces, and command centers. In modern warfare, information is power. The F-35 was built for network-centric combat where everyone on your side knows what everyone else knows. It can detect threats and immediately share that data with F-22s, giving the Raptors targeting information they couldn't get on their own. So what do these jets actually do in a fight? The F-22 is your opening act. When a war kicks off and the enemy still has an air force and air defenses, you send in the Raptors. They'll establish air superiority by shooting down enemy fighters and clearing the skies. With its speed, maneuverability, and stealth, the F-22 can get into contested airspace, eliminate threats, and get out before the enemy knows what happened. The F-22 carries 6 M120 AMRAAM missiles internally for air-to-air combat, plus 2 AIM-9 Sidewinders for close-range fights. It can also carry 2 1,000-pound bombs for ground attack missions, but that's not really what it was built for. Its primary weapon is its ability to achieve air dominance. The F-35 is more versatile. Sure, it can fight other aircraft, but that's not its primary job. It's designed for strike missions, like hitting ground targets, taking out air defenses, conducting reconnaissance, and supporting ground troops. The F-35 can carry a wide variety of weapons internally to maintain stealth, or externally when stealth isn't as critical and maximum firepower is needed. halted. Internally, the F-35A can carry two 2,000-pound bombs and two AIM-120 missiles. When stealth isn't required, it can carry an additional 12,000 pounds of weapons on external hardpoints. The point is, it can drop precision-guided bombs, fire air-to-ground missiles, and still defend itself against air threats. Here's something that might surprise you. The U.S. stopped producing F-22s in 2011. Only 187 were built. Why would they stop making what many consider the best fighter jet ever created? You see, each F-22 costs roughly $150 million, and that's just the aircraft itself. When you factor in development costs and the program as a whole, some estimates put the per-unit cost closer to $350 million. Congress decided that was too expensive, especially since the F-22 can't be exported to allies due to technology protection laws. The Oberhof Amendment, passed in 1998, prohibited foreign sales of the F-22 to protect its advanced technology, without export sales to share costs, and with no active threats. The production line shut down. Restarting it now would cost billions because the tooling and supplier networks have been dismantled. The F-35, on the other hand, is still in production. Over 3,000 are planned to be built for the U.S. and allied nations. Why? Economics of scale. The more you build, the cheaper each one gets. Early F-35s cost around $150 million each. Now, with mass production, the F-35A costs about $80 million per aircraft. And when you really look at it, that's actually cheaper than many fourth-generation fighters it's replacing, like the advanced versions of the F-16 and F/A-18. Plus, the F-35 can be exported. Countries like the UK, Japan, Australia, South Korea, Italy, Norway, Denmark, and many others are buying F-35s. This spreads development costs across multiple nations and creates a standardized platform that allies can use together. When American F-35s fly alongside British or Australian F-35s, they can seamlessly share information and coordinate tactics. In real-world operations, both jets have proven themselves, but in different ways. F-22s flew combat missions over Syria, providing air superiority and conducting strike missions against terrorist targets. They've also been used for homeland defense, intercepting Russian aircraft that get too close to U.S. airspace. Their mere presence is often enough to deter potential adversaries. When Russia's advanced Su-35 fighters operated in Syria, they stayed clear of areas where F-22s were operating. F-35s have flown combat missions for multiple countries. Israel has used them extensively in the Middle East for strike missions, reportedly being the first nation to use the F-35 in combat. The U.S. has deployed them in various operations. Their ability to gather intelligence, strike targets, and coordinate with other forces has proven invaluable. Marine F-35Bs have operated from amphibious assault ships exactly as designed. But here's an interesting twist. The pilots who fly these aircraft often have strong opinions about which is better. F-22 pilots love the raw power and performance. There's nothing quite like the feeling of having two massive engines and thrust vectoring at your fingertips. Many consider it the most capable air-to-air fighter ever built. F-35 pilots appreciate the technology and information dominance. They see things nobody else can see and share that awareness with everyone who needs it. They know what's happening in the battle space better than anyone. So which one is actually better? That's the wrong question. Well, it depends on what you're trying to do. If you need absolute air superiority against a peer adversary with advanced fighters, the F-22 is unmatched. If you need a versatile aircraft that can do multiple missions, integrate with allied forces, and adapt to evolving threats, the F-35 is your answer. These jets look similar because they both are built for stealth. Both are incredible achievements of engineering and technology and represent massive investments in national defense. And honestly, we're lucky to have both. If you have something you'd like us to cover next, let us know what you think in the comments.